Yo,
Yo,
what's good, bro?
I'm good, bro. What's up with you?
Chilling, man, chilling. Still quarantined in LA, but hanging in there, just
Yeah,
practicing as much as possible at this point. So, how are you?
yeah. Same here, bro. Same here. Like everything's locked down. Like lockdown so bad. Like people are afraid to go out. But then some people are actually killing. So the police is like getting strict and everything. So we're just not going out. We're just staying home. Even like finding new crafts to explore, stuff like
Yeah,
that.
yeah. So the situation in what city are you in right now?
So I'm in the east side, which is Kolkata. So
Okay.
now the situation is like the government it's like fucking things up really bad because they're hiding numbers and everything like what was happening in China like before.
Oh,
So people are afraid and like nobody knows like even if the situation gets better, it might relapse because nobody knows what's the situation like the actual situation. So
yeah, it's a problem, man, because even in the US, like there was, we started really testing people in like February, but as soon as the virus started in Wuhan in China, it was in the US already because people travel all the time. So,
yeah,
back in November, people were getting the coronavirus, but those people are either dead or recovered. So there's no way of testing if they have it or not. So the numbers
yeah.
never make sense, really.
So, like, what's the situation in LA right now? Is it better or like
Uh,
not that
yeah,
better?
I mean, LA, it depends where you live, but I live like 30 minutes from downtown, so where I live is not like super close together. And yeah, it's fine here. Everybody's wearing masks and you can still go outside. The police aren't, stopping you, but all the beaches are closed down, the parks and all that. So, it's nobody's going to work basically. But in LA, they said that they're going to start to open up businesses on Friday. So at least a few of them. Yeah. So we'll see, man. We'll see. I don't know, man. So what do you think is going to happen with the dance world with all this?
Oh shit, man! Like each day I think of something different, and I'm like, damn, are we never gonna have jams anymore? Like,
Uh,
there's a lot to travel, there's a lot to explore, and then suddenly, when things were going great, like the whole dance world was growing, like my country was growing, like there were so many jams here, and we were supposed to do things together, and everything
yeah.
just halt, and like there are days when I think like maybe this might just continue and things might just change, like the whole format, the whole way. Like I just had a funny thought, like how would if this is the situation, people might just have battles and jams and ciphers, but how would people even do like showcase competitions or something like that? Like where
Yeah.
people have to, really dig into interaction and like do coordination and all that. So I've been thinking hard, but I don't know, man, like things might just change, like everything might just change. Like how dinosaurs disappeared or something like that.
Nah, man, I don't think it won't be like the dinosaurs necessarily, but I think things are definitely gonna change. I talked to a few people about it, but I think I think there's gonna be the main thing with dance I feel like is
Mhm.
coming together. The community is like
Yeah.
building the relationships with people and sharing these moments in the same place together.
Yeah,
Uh,
yeah, for real, for real.
Yeah, so when it goes to like online and stuff, it's cool. It's cool for a little bit or like for certain things. Like I feel like what might happen is all the preliminaries for like the big battles. So maybe there's like only 3 or 4 big battles per year, but then like
Mhm.
most of the stuff will be online to get the top and then everybody come together.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I'm just still watching, like, still waiting to watch the real life situation, how it actually happens when people get down in their living rooms in front of their laptops and everything, and let's see how
Yeah.
it like turns out. Already the Great One Eaters thing is happening, and like
Yeah.
Very excited to see like how things are done there for real.
Yeah, I'm excited though because I think it will actually help. I mean, I'm interested to get your opinion on this as far as I think
Mhm.
the online situation might
Mhm.
actually help India grow even more.
Yeah,
Just
yeah,
because now you have the chance to battle the best in the world. You don't even have to leave your house.
exactly, exactly. Like the tension just cuts down, like how to arrange money, like the currency exchange and everything. People have to dig a lot to like work a lot to, get all that money to convert them into euros or like dollars. And then suddenly, because of the situation, if we take it as a blessing, like it can be a real blessing. And already, like a lot of Indians, they're like just sitting home all day, just checking out what are the events happening, like it's here, there, and they just taking random videos. My friends, like a lot of people I know, and they're just digging into it. So it might just turn into something crazy. Like it is actually right now. It is happening.
Yeah, yeah, no, I think like when I thought of the online battles, the first place I thought of was India. I was like, oh shit, now you're gonna see there's
Oh
some
yeah,
visual,
yeah.
like for me, I don't know what you think about the popping scene in India compared to elsewhere because you've traveled now too. So it's like, how do you compare the street dance scene in India compared to the rest of the world?
Uh, the first thing that actually comes to my mind, being a part of it, and also if I view it as an outsider or whatever, is like people are really hungry, bro. Like people just want to know everything. They just want to see everything, experience everything. And like from the small towns I go to, and like even the metropolitan big cities, like everybody, even if the mass is small or the mass is big, like everybody just wants to get better. Everybody just wants to know everything. Like some people just want to dig into something like just popping, like just animation, and they're so like hungry to just come out of that box and just be like, I'm an animator, like I'm a popper, like they want to carry those tags and everything, and it's so dope to see like inspiration in every place you go. Like if there are a couple of events in a month, like if I go to a couple of places, every guy from every place is like inspiring me. So that's the best part. And if that starts happening online now, there will be more
Yeah,
coming out and more inspiration on the way.
yeah, shit, man. Now it gets me hyped, bro. Because every time I look to India, it seems like, yo, there's a lot that you can feel the hunger. Even I would say even I've been popping like 10 and a half years now,
Yeah.
but I would say even like 8 years ago, people were hitting me up from India. Like, and they were like asking me questions about like they were already like asking me lots of questions, DMing me and stuff. And even to this day, like I get a lot of messages and I'm like, I can't answer all of them, it's so hard. But
Yeah.
I just I really respect India for that too. It's like that's why I want to go there so bad because I feel here in LA it's like um the hunger, like the level is super high,
Yeah.
but like the hunger is not as much. So I like to travel and get inspired by other people's drive.
Yeah, yeah, for real. That's like a drug to me. Like, just at times I think like, why am I such a people tripper? Like I just go to like some city like miles apart just to watch one guy who's come down from that place, who's been doing this for so many years, and I'm like, wow, like thank God I've been tripping on this and not like something not useful. And that even the way you say it, like uh, people, at times I think like when the time these things came to LA or like maybe like Europe or something, maybe people have been doing it for a lot of time, so they have channelized or like diluted their things to other people, and the community has grown this way. If thinking about it, but here the thing hasn't been happening for a long time, so everybody is still in that zone, like that crazy zone to maybe just
Yeah.
want everything. Like we just started it. There's a lot to explore, and and also like the country is so big. I mean,
Yeah.
there's so many people every day. I see new people trying to do things, and like this guy tagging that guy, and through some way I'm tagged, and like wow, every day like new poppers into like
Wow.
boogaloo or like into animation, and yeah, already crazy stuff happening. Just I just hope like things keep on happening this way.
So what like when did popping really start? Well, do you guys have OGs in India? Like what are the OGs
Yeah.
like there?
Yeah, so basically, what I know of is like around 2008 or 9 was like the times when some people were coming out of college or school. Like, so the basic influence for some people was like, the step up movies or like
Mm,
documentaries coming out, like, the freshest kids or like something like that. People used to watch all that like to gain the proper information. And
mm,
by the time a couple of guys from each city, where breaking came before, like there were b-boys in Mumbai and Delhi since like 2007 or something. Like
mm,
that's still a long time for life like us now. But popping, I think 2008 or 9, there were some people in New Delhi who were so basically there's an interesting story like how people got exposed to the style is how the city's style now is. So it was
mm,
like people in New Delhi in 2008 or 9 probably, as far as I know, was Astik and Tico, these two
mm,
guys. So these guys were being exposed to, I guess, more of popping, LA popping kind of videos or like maybe tutorials or something like that. Like as far as I have seen them and interacted with them, and same way, like that's the north, and in the east where I stay in, there were these guys like one of my crewmates, he's called the Monster, and one more guy called Lucky. So these two guys were digging like people in the electric boogaloo scene, like people like Skeeter Rabbit and maybe like Jazzy J or something like that. And then
mm,
so because of that interest on these guys, uh, so I was doing it, but then I didn't have that much exposure. But then I was a kid back then, like maybe uh, junior high school or something, like maybe not even
mm,
high school.
mm,
So I was just getting exposed, and these guys were already traveling to each other cities, and
mm,
I saw was like guys were getting to realize that some of the guys there are like hitting hard or like already doing the dime stops and everything. So these guys got a realization like maybe that's a part of this thing which we need to work on. And maybe those guys who are doing the other stuff in like the north of the country, they were getting to realize that okay, the east side is doing something like this, which is more like flowy, wavy, or like maybe like electric boogaloo style or something like that. So this thing started happening. I saw it happening since 2010, 11. By the time even I was in my city, they were battling in their cities. We were having like fun parties or jams thrown. Like mainly it was just you know parties, and but then not the really good parties which I see now outside my country. It was like a bit commercial, but then still trying to break out. There were like ciphers and crew battles. There weren't any solo battles like solo
mm,
competition. But the first thing that we did was like cycles, little parties at some places, and like all style crew battles. So like breaking crew battles and all style crew battles. So there's an interesting story about this too. Like in the west side of the country, which is Mumbai,
mm,
uh, is like the financial capital of the country. So there, the scene hit like way before, just like I told you. So these guys had like a lot of b-boy crews amongst them. Like this whole city had like at least 10, 20, 30 b-boy crews already, like 2008 or something, maybe 2008 or 9, and crews which were on here were more like weekly or something. Like there would be like one, two poppers with like a couple of b-boys, or maybe like a guy getting into crump or something like that. So the like our part of the country mostly into all style battles and everything in the competitions, and also like all style showcases, like where people showcase different styles. Like this guy is doing like probably popping, this guy is doing like hip hop, freestyle or something. So these guys are doing this. Like our scene was pretty much like this. The Mumbai scene was pretty much like uh, breaking crew and like one or two, a couple of animators, people who were just like watching people like maybe Andre or something and getting inspired. So there are a couple of people who are doing this in Mumbai too. Like these guys have been like there since like 10 years now at least. I think like Marcos, Ice Plate and people. So there were three things happening in three different areas, and these areas like huge. It's like kilometers far apart. This thing, like the whole animation style, the whole popping scene, and then kilometers far apart, there's this wavy electric boogaloo scene,
Mm.
and a lot of interesting things. I actually didn't know about it. I just saw the videos, but when I started traveling since like 2012, 13, something like that, I realized that even if I go to small cities of these different areas, I get to see the food. It's kind of distributed, you know, like
Yes.
yeah.
So what year did you start in?
So I think I did start like how to do popping as a dance style. I started
Uh,
in 2013, but before
13.
that I was doing some random ass shit like watching the so you think you can dance, trying to dance like Pac-Man or
Yeah.
maybe someone like that, or maybe like watching Matt Chat and trying to copy his moves and everything. And that I started doing all that, watching the Rockies and everyone. So I got really exposed through the, choreography dance as a team kind of thing in school and everything. So we really
Mhm.
used to have those solo kind of activities there. Like it was just like team choreography and everything. So I was watching that, and slowly I got exposed to, obviously step up LXD and these things. And I got exposed to different people like, this is Boogie Frantic and this is J Rock. Like then I dug these guys. Like I did like I used to watch their videos like all day, every day for like a couple of weeks, and then dug like who who are the guys who taught these guys. Then I got to know about people like Jazzy J and everyone. So then
Mm.
I just kept watching people, and obviously a lot of people who were elder to me at that point of time. Like I told you, these guys were traveling, so even they shared videos. So trying to gather with whatever we have.
Bro,
But
I lost your
I
volume.
think
Do
yeah, yeah, even I
you
too.
mute
I
yourself? I can't hear you.
you can hear me now, or but I can't hear you
Let me
properly.
see. I didn't mute you either. I don't know why.
1 second.
Can you guys hear him? All right. I can't hear him.
I don't know if people can, but I can't hear you. Okay,
Is there some way to unmute it?
let me just try and
Oh, there we
connect
go.
my.
I
Yeah,
can hear
yeah,
you a little bit.
yeah. Yeah, yeah. Now you can.
It's just really quiet.
Oh, okay. So should I talk louder?
Oh wait. I feel like there's something blocking the mic.
Okay, let me just hold it like I was doing it before. Yeah.
For some reason it's like super quiet, but
So is my voice affecting or something?
yeah, I can hear you, but it's just super quiet.
Oh, like okay.
Yeah. Maybe there was like a I had to move because there was like some parade going by my house right now. I was like so distracted. I was like, what the hell? It's like a fire truck and like all these people driving by honking their
Right
horns
now?
and shit. I was like, damn man, this is like the
Yeah.
parade.
Yeah, the parade will be destroying it.
Yeah, okay, there you go. You're better now. I
Yeah.
got you. Sick.
Yeah.
Okay, we're back in business. So you
Yeah.
were getting all this information from like initially it was just the movies, right? So
Movies, yeah, YouTube, yeah.
mhm. And now there's music playing. What
TV.
the hell? Are you playing funk? Oh my god. So, so initially you were getting information from movies in like 2007, 2008 was like the first wave of India that was kind of like in the street dance world. And then you
Yeah,
kind of you were dancing, so you kind of saw it, but then in 2013 is when you started to dig deeper into like the information and all of that. What started
yeah,
that?
yeah, yeah.
What started like to the dig deeper? Like what made you want to start to look into like the history and like the foundations and stuff?
Uh, it was pretty much gradual. Like in the beginning, it was all like getting attracted to these to the best things, you know, like oh
Mm,
Salah hitting flips and like or maybe the Jabberwockies doing their freaky thing, and then the best thing which I could do was like just getting to know of names of these people and like digging about them slowly, like and like I told you, like what who have taught these guys and everything. So the first thing that kind of inspired me was when we were Storm. Like he was the first one, I think, who came here to give a like a proper popping workshop, like
mm,
popping, isolations, roles. That was like the first popping proper workshop I attended. So he told us a lot about these things, like the culture of different areas is different. Like what happens in Europe, maybe it has a different name, but then what happens in America, maybe that has a different name. People there have started at this point of time. People here got the information through these people and all that. So that was pretty much eye opening. Like before that, I was taking all this like what to say, uh, just like something I could do, like just for fun. Like it
mm,
was like uh, getting a new skill, maybe like playing the guitar or something. It was like that. Like oh, today I learned how to strum the guitar. Today I learned how to play the electric guitar, something like that.
yeah,
But
yeah.
then later on it turned on like didn't turn me on, but yeah, it turned into something dope, like something I couldn't just stop researching about because Tom had kind of planted that seed inside me, like bro, you gotta research. That's like knowledge is one of the pillars, and like you need to research, you need to travel, like you need to
Mm,
share it, and then the kind of inspiring things. Basically, before there weren't much people coming down. It was like maybe once or twice a year, maybe. Like we had to wait for like 5, 6 months to wait for a great event. Like someone, there used to be one guy who used to come, and someone coming down to teach popping or maybe judge a big competition or something. So we used to wait for like 4, 5 months. So we used to get a lot of information from one guy, and like do all our research, do all our practices and training for the 3, 4 months, and then we used to wait for one more guy who's probably coming to another city, organized by
mm,
some. And then when Salah came and he gave a dope dope ass class, and like it was all about like I think it was 2013 too. So it was all about like how to train your body. Body is like a temple, and if you break down everything,
wow.
you can even break down life. Like body is just this small part in life. So he gave us so much inspiration. Like bro, he took a 5 hour class out of a 2 hour class. He was supposed to teach for 2 hours, but everybody was like covering him, and they were like also hungry. So he was like giving out like from like the basics to I don't know where he went, and that was also really inspiring. Like when I saw like two people from different cities with two different approaches have so much to offer, like what maybe the people who these guys are talking about, who are OGs for these people too, what can they offer? And that
Mm,
me was like that hit me like really hard. Like this is the thing that I need to focus on because there's a lot today. Like there's a lot we can cover. There's a lot of knowledge out there which can help us grow as a human being also, not just as a dancer with skills. So and by that process, I already saw that I've seen changes in myself, like how I was back in 2009 when I started mimicking the dancers. And now that I understand something greater than that, I felt like very, I felt good within myself. Like, I think there's some changes in me, which is for the better, like the better
Mm.
future. So I just kept digging, kept doing my thing, and then suddenly I saw like, wow, like people are appreciating. And then like obviously there's some validation required in the beginning because you don't know what the hell you're doing. And then
Yeah,
suddenly
yeah.
people start saying like, oh, you do that nice, you do, wow man, this is great. And I'm like, ah, then maybe things are working. So I just kept going after that. So that was my main source of inspiration when I actually started understanding popping in that way.
Man, that's crazy, man. Yeah, I think it works that way for a lot of people, you know. When it
Mhm.
comes to um like, do you see yourself like ending with dance, like as far as a future? You know how you felt in dance was like really affecting you as a person and like you were able to grow. What happens with a lot of us is all of a sudden now we have opportunities that come to us through this craft of dance. Um, and sometimes we like get stuck in a mindset like my soul and my art is only dance. Will I evolve beyond that? You know, because we get so stuck in the idea that I'm just a dancer. But do you ever feel like that this might go beyond dance in some type of way?
Yeah, I think through through these small jams that I used to be a part of in my city to starting to throw small jams, and then now I'm trying to organize a lot of events by calling people from outside and trying to if I do the statistics, I couldn't do shit back then when I started. I was like one little child who was afraid of even like speaking of what he wants to do. And then slowly with time, I felt like I'm through this process, I'm learning a lot of things in life which I didn't even realize back then, or maybe I do not even know if I would have been someone like this if I wouldn't have been
Mm.
dancing or something like that.
Wow.
So when that realization struck me, and of course, like for Indian, like there's this big mentality that parents have for security, basically, that it's the best to make our like our child a student of life, and like uh, make them study since their childhood, and make them engineers or doctors at least, so that they have good security for the future. And that's a good, but a mentality that has started affecting a lot of people from the 80s and 90s, so then we saw the rebels who came out, something like that,
Mm.
because the whole system was pretty much like education, education, education. And if like probably in 2000s, in the early 2000s, if there was someone who used to, maybe go to his parents and say like, I think I want to dance like Michael Jackson because I think I get this good. And they'd be like, what are you saying? Like,
Yeah.
you're grounded for 2 days. Go home and study. He was
So
like that.
did the culture change around that?
Yeah, yeah, like a lot. I think dance and music and people getting interested, people getting into the scene, and people creating a lot of art through dance and music, and getting like international recognition, getting like a lot of musicians here. So dope, bro. Like like it's too much. Like I imagine like how rich the music is, what people back then could create here, and even today, like
Yeah.
like people are playing EDM with guitars and flutes and everything. It's so dope. And music and dance, I think, has changed things so much here, like culturally. Like now parents, they do need basics like security for their children, obviously. So once
Mm.
they, what I've seen is like a lot of people get that push once they actually just show something like, hey, I've won this, or maybe like, hey, I just went to something and something great happened and I came second. And their parents suddenly, they met like butter and like, oh, I thought my son was going to be a doctor and engineer. Look, he has this talent. Okay, go on, something like that. And then later
Oh,
on,
that's dope.
yeah, and then later on, if that guy is interested and he takes the thing, and like in a couple of years, he's actually, like interested completely in this thing and like doing good. Like maybe he's earning something through this, through which he can support himself. If they see that, they're like, wow. But but in the beginning, it's difficult. It's difficult to make people, especially like make your parents and your relatives, make them understand that this is a way of living, this is a lifestyle through which, nobody is sitting home doing this. This is not just a passion to people, not just a hobby, but people are going miles because of this passion. Like nobody knew that India would have street dance, and people from all over the world will be coming to India, sharing, and people from India going out, doing all these things, like all communities, like breaking, crumping, hip hop, popping, everything. I never expected.
It's kind of like when say you meet like a really beautiful girl or something, right? And you go
Yeah,
home and you tell your parents, and you're like, Mom, you know what? I love her. It's like been 1 month, right? You're like, I love her, I want to marry her, And then uh, your parents are like, oh my God, yeah, they're not feeling it. It's the kind of the same thing with street dances, like especially when you're not that good at it. Yeah, it's really hard to like when you're first beginning, hard to explain how much practice and devotion you're putting into it because
yeah.
you're just in love, you're just in love. So you just keep going, but nobody can really understand the love but you, so you got to see it out all the way.
Yeah, 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 100%.
Yeah,
Quite a
but
good example.
you feel like because I feel like so you said in the 90s, the 80s and 90s, there was like pretty strict education in India. And then I feel like maybe the generation of parents that is coming out of that now is they felt the restriction, like the pressure of education. And then now when they have kids, they're kind of like, do what you love and just do it to the best of your ability.
Yeah, 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 true, bro. I think that is the thing. Like maybe a lot of like like the age, like around 25 to 30, the people who are 25 to 30 right now, their parents were probably in that situation where they had a lot to do. Like even my mom, she really wanted to do something. She wanted to sing and do a lot of things, but then because of the situation, there was a lot of things actually. Like the history wasn't that good. Like there was partition of the country. There were wars. There were a lot of things. So the situation back then was too much like security first, uh,
Mm,
everything. But then they wasn't even doing anything. Like if people were doing what they want, they were suppressed. Like just do the whole education system and get your life done. Now you can do it. But then after that, like when people started getting into their 30s, 40s, they were like, so we are in this after that position right now. Like
yeah.
we can't do anything else. We have children. So when did we even do it? What we wanted? So maybe that is the reason, probably, that these parents have been so like equally passionate about dancers or musicians. But it actually depends. Like uh, situations at this point of time in India, like some people are like really below poverty line, and these guys want to turn into great b-boys, and they have so much talent, so much potential. Like if I talk about some people I know, from the some kids, some from the breaking scene, from the crump scene, these guys can do a lot. I mean, they are those kids who can change the future of this country, but then their parents can't support it, they can't support it themselves. So these parents, maybe they are really afraid, but then like I myself don't know how to get this whole everything inside this country, but I'm sure someday or the other, because some mentality of a generation of parents have changed. Maybe in the future, like maybe in 10, 20 more years, like
Mm.
then something there'll be more paths opening, so that people can recognize this thing more, and be secured about their son or their daughter or whoever wants to do it.
Yeah, man, I think it's something I'm super interested in as far as like building the economic infrastructure to like have more people that survive off of dance.
Hmm.
But there's two sides to the coin, you know. There's like the idea of one day I want to work so hard that I don't have to survive off dance because as you know, like working with dance is much different than just dancing for fun, you know.
Yeah.
Especially like in
You
LA,
know
and
a
I'm
lot
trying to
about it,
be.
right? Can you tell me something about it, like how you feel about how to, balance the both worlds?
Yeah, so I think the idea of the balance is it's tough, man, because when you depend purely on dance, there's not much. I mean, as a freestyle dancer, right? There's just not that much opportunity. I mean, you really got to be towards the top to make it. I mean, like you're talking about, less than 100 in the entire world, probably, right? That are surviving purely off freestyle and surviving in a way that they like,
Yeah.
uh, maybe they can actually buy a house. There's probably less than 50 of those people, you know. So
Yeah.
when it comes to that, well, it depends like what you like about dance. What do you truly value about dance? Because like when I do choreography, the way that I understand choreography, and I'm learning more about choreography now, but there's different ways to approach it. But the one, two, three, four, five, six, seven, and eight, like it was never how I learned how to dance. So I always kind of withdrew from that. So I that limits basically to like 5% of the jobs that are available to somebody that pops. Now I have a 5% allocation, right? 5% chance to get those jobs. So when it comes to the balance, as far as doing work and dance, I had to figure out work I did like with dance. Like for me, I love to teach, and so what do you have to do in order to teach dance? To be able to get the status where people will want to come and learn from you. Well, that's hard. In the street dance
Yeah.
world, there's a couple ways to do it. One is to like win battles, right? You have to have some sort of validation to basically get your spot. So like maybe one of the big people believes that you're dope, right? So maybe they repost you or something like that. That's not enough. You need like multiple sources. You also
Yeah.
need to prove yourself, and it has to be like on video, and and
Yeah.
I think it's tough, man. To get to that place. And then I just wish it was easier in the sense of the thing is you can't expect beginners to understand who is a good teacher, right? Because also just because you win a competition doesn't mean you can teach very well. So
Yeah. That's true.
yeah, so as part of it, the thing that's always the problem with economics and dance is the entertainment industry in general. Is if you look at actors, like you look at any art that's being sold, you have actors that are there's only a few that make it, right? How many people actually make it in acting? If you say you're an actor, it's probably that means you're a waiter, It's like you wait
Yeah.
tables, like, it's it's the same with dance. It's the same with dance because in order to market dance, you have to be famous.
Yeah. For real. Now the situation is like pretty much what you're talking about. Like if you do not have that validation, people don't even talk about you. I've seen that. Like I know like a couple of dope dancers who do not like participating that much in competitions, or maybe they don't win that much, but they're dope, like really dope, and these guys don't even know about them. Why? Because they haven't seen enough battle videos of them. They've seen the other people battling, so they know of them. So whenever like new people come to me to, you know about things or maybe learn, I tell them about people who the world doesn't know that much, so that they get exposed to some other crazy stuff which everyone knows the people. Like why don't we research about someone who we all not know about? So yeah, I think you're right, but yeah, that's the system right now.
Yeah,
Much.
I think for me when I think about dance, um, my dream of having a community that is oriented and understands that dance can provide so much intrinsic value, so much value within your experience of life. Like, yo,
Yeah.
like life, uh, we're living things, right? And we get to experience these things. So I think if we can understand that the value of dance is not always gonna produce a dollar sign, it's not always gonna. But the thing is I've even seen it, especially in LA. Like some of the most genius street dancers become super successful in something else, because they didn't let themselves be defined by what they were good at. So they were good at dance, and we're like from the street dance scene, we're like, yo, why'd you quit? You were so dope, and but
Yeah.
they're creative humans, so they developed the skill within dance, and then they just basically shifted it to something else, and it became something that like produced more money. So I think if we see each other not as like the value of our person is not how well we perform either.
Mhm.
It's like how we're processing things and how we exchange and share ideas and become a good person that allows us to flourish wherever we go.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I
So
think like these skills we acquire are like automatically, some way or the other pushed inside our subconscious mind, which we, acquire through, maybe the discipline of practicing, or maybe like the way of expressing yourself in front of a lot of people. So maybe these things keep on acquiring inside our head somewhere. It's stored as not a skill, but like as freedom of expression or something like that, which if we get to know of something we can do or we like something else, maybe just we can throw them on that and something creative might happen there too. Actually, I've seen a
yeah,
lot of people, like you told me, like who have done things, who have been really creative in their own art form, like whatever they were doing, like breaking or popping or whatever, and then they have gone out, they have made their own thing, like media houses and everything, a lot of really open creative things, and they are still doing it. They still, do it just for fun, but yeah.
I think the really important skills that we build in this street dance is,
Yeah.
um, well, I think it's like the ability to understand when something's cool before it's cool. So
Okay, yeah.
like I don't say like it has to be cool, but like when you're creating something, you
Mhm.
have to believe in the idea. You have to learn
Yeah,
how to believe in the idea because it's not gonna be dope right away. It's like
yeah,
you gotta keep twisting and turning and smoothing it out. And
yeah.
so I think that is probably one of the most valuable skills because also you meet a lot of resistance in the street dance scene, right? You got
Mhm.
people from the, like a traditional mindset where they're like, ah, that's not popping or that's not. Well, that's real world stuff. Like that
Mhm.
happens in everything ever, So
Yeah,
then you have like the idea to really believe in and then go despite the resistance you feel from your community. You're like, nah, I know this is gonna be dope. Just wait, just wait. So
yeah,
that I think is what when you talk about like the tech industry or innovation, inventions, this is like what we
yeah.
learn to do.
100%.
Yeah, man.
100%.
So I feel like I don't know where it's going to end up leading as far as the street dance world. But I think of it almost like I think of it, you know, you have like churches, right? You
Yeah.
have churches and you have pastors and
Mhm.
you have like certain people at the church that can get paid. If it's a big church, right? If it's a big
Okay.
church, like the
Mhm.
pastor's paid, the different people are paid.
Okay.
Uh,
Yeah.
but if it's a small church, just volunteer. Nobody's getting paid, right? It's like
Mhm.
we're
Yeah.
just trying to like the community's chipping in together to keep the lights on. But
Yeah.
I think um, what we see now is kind of like with social media and stuff. You have like these super famous people,
Yeah.
and they're the ones getting paid. Um, they're like the pastors of a big church, uh, and it doesn't
Yeah.
mean that what they're saying is better than the small church on the corner. It's just
Mhm.
it's just that somehow through media, through popularity, they were able to generate that following of people. And I think that's kind of how our system is now too. So
Yeah.
I think we have the people that are teaching like local stuff, which is always good, building the local community. And then you have the mega churches, basically.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Actually, there has been a lot of people here who, like I told you, like people don't even know about. Like if you see them, bro, like I think I told you the same thing when we met in Canada. Like
Uh-huh.
there are some Indian dancers. If you see them, you'll go crazy. You'll be like, wow. I mean, nobody knows about them, but maybe now people will start to know about them because everything is getting more online now because
Yeah.
I just do hope they do because some of the people who I know in India, they're like really dope, man. Whatever they do, and some people have exactly who had just started by playing maybe one instrument and just doing one style. They have uh, emerged into something crazy. Now they do music production, they do popping, waving, making videos, everything. So like we never know like what are we feeding from and then what are we seeking, but then some way or the other in the end it all gets to life.
Yeah, for sure. Do you feel like in India that what is like the most common struggle or question you get from people that are starting?
Mm, one was the struggle part is always that question like how do I do dance for a living, or like how do I convince my parents. That was one situation that we did talk about, and the other one is all of like is like people are people, nowadays people have this general mindset of that battles are everything because not many ciphers or parties or things like that happen here. Like big jams don't even have like those proper after parties where people connect and people can
Mhm.
do stuff other than just be in the competition mindset. So all a lot of the young dancers who are getting into this popping scene or like this hip hop community right now, they're like just watching and getting exposed to battles, competitions, small, big, whatever. Like there are a lot of organizers here because a lot of people in these cities, big cities. So every month, every 2 months, they're watching like four, five, six events, and like they just that's their vision. Like yeah, top 16, top 8, winner.
Uh,
Uh,
okay.
so that's one big security question I get from them, which I see is like how to win the battle, how to this like I'm sure it's everywhere, like every growing community or wherever like there is a big community. I'm sure it's everywhere, but people are mostly into that now. Everybody is at the beginning, but I see more and more people just wanting to, get into that battle thing. They don't want to go to a jam to enjoy a cipher or anything. They just have a feeling of I want to go there. I want to get selected. Prelims, okay, cool. I want to battle this guy. I want to win the battle. The competition mind already from like on a grassroots level, just like the thing I told you, like parents had been pressurizing, generations to, just get into the, you know, IT or like become a doctor. So they already had that competitive nature, like
Mm,
generations. And then suddenly when they get into this, they get that mindset into this dance first instead of being exposed by parties like maybe Canada, maybe LA, or maybe you know maybe Japan. How people get exposed to this, they don't get exposed to that. They get exposed through the competition mindset, the competition vibe. So that's one of the like most asked questions: how to win battles, how do I get selected in prelims. I just whenever I get these questions, I just tell them like, it's that thing is not really important. What's important is like believing in the process and having fun with it for now, because if you start thinking of it too much, you might just get trapped in like something you don't even want to get trapped in. So
that's
that's the
good
big
advice.
question.
Yeah, that's good
Yeah.
advice. Yeah, yeah. I think if you're only doing it for look, this is something. If you're spending and investing your time in dance and popping for the money, uh, I can name like 1,000 other things you should probably be doing instead.
Yeah,
Like
yeah.
if you're doing popping for the money, I think you need to look at your other options. Because there's so many easier ways to make money than it is through street dance.
For real.
So I think it's just important that people understand like why they're doing what they're doing. I think we all start with some superficial reason like, oh, this looks dope, or I want to win a battle, or I want to impress my friends, or this girl, or this boy, or whatever. And then it starts to shift. So it's like
Mhm.
in the beginning, there's always those questions, but I think when I started, it was more about just being so. Uh, just so in awe of the magic of it. Yeah. Like
Yeah.
just it looks unreal, like a magic trick. So that's kind of why I started. And then I just kept asking questions. For me to win battles, it was I never wanted to enter battles. It was just actually like pushed on me by my teachers. My first teacher entered me in my first battle, which was midnight, and then my like all the other times, Tabo was like, "No, you got to enter," blah blah blah. And for me, it was just like it was more of a test of my mind, than it was
Mm.
me seeing if I could win. Because even when I won, I didn't believe it. I was just like, oh man, I don't know. I don't believe the judges, man. They like me. They like me. They don't they like me. It's not my dance. They just like me.
Quite an assumption, bro.
Yeah. But for me it was like the battles they take different forms throughout your journey too, In the beginning, it's a good place to test your craft and keep building and get ideas and experience the pressure of real life stuff. It's not like make believe. It's like when you come to a battle and you start to dance under that pressure, you face yourself. That's the
Yeah.
battle. Uh,
That's
so
also that's also one of the questions, like because like all the growing people, they get to this situation really like a lot of times in their like life nowadays, because a lot of events are happening like every now and then. People are traveling here, there, small cities. So all of these people, they ask like, what do I do to be more calm in the situation? Like, and that reminds me of myself because I used to keep in the same situation, like the same question. I used to face the same situation and ask people, like, just randomly search for this answer. What do I do? What do I do? Like I can't keep my calm. What's happening? And then a lot of these questions too. Yeah. So how do you think? Like, what did you do? Like, did you have something like this in your?
Oh, oh, to
Yeah.
like to overcome like the anxiety.
Yeah.
Uh, yeah, I mean, there was always like, um, actually, like when I was battling a lot, I was reading a lot of like Buddhist books. I was reading a lot of different religious books, a lot of like psychology books, and I would just deepen my mindset before I entered these battles. And normally it was like, the problem is, I would try on all these different philosophies, right?
Yeah. Okay.
And they would last for a couple weeks, and then they would just fizzle away. So I'd pick up another book and I'd read another book, and then I'd be lit up like fire, like, oh, I'm good, like I got it, you know. And then it would start to drift off again, you know. So for me, it was overcoming anxiety. There's a couple tricks like that you can use in real practical ways besides like reading psychology books. You can do like one is breathing techniques, right? Just real
Yeah.
physiological stuff. Like, so you breathe in, hold, breathe out, hold it for a little longer, breathe out, all this sort of stuff. And then like if you're feeling tired, like sometimes if you're ciphering, I would get tired sometimes, so I would hyperventilate. So, and then that would
Yeah.
actually get the blood flowing. That would hype me up a little bit. And then for the opposite effect, when I'm hyped, I slow down my breath. And then sometimes it's about just zooming out, like you have a camera and you're using a lens, right?
Yeah.
Sometimes you're so like looking inside that like what I'll do is I'll just pick somebody out in the audience and I'll just like smile and like feel the music with them. Then I'll let somebody else feel the music. Usually what I'll try and do is like find a little kid that's like sitting in the front row, and I start like vibing, and they have no awareness of like anxiety, you know. They'll run out in the middle of that circle and just like look around, you know. They don't care. So like if I can just like, if I make eye contact with them, I can kind of remember what it's like to be a little kid and just play. Yeah. So
Just
those are just
being
like little techniques.
right. So actually, yeah, actually, that's a good one, man. Like, if you kind of think about it, like the exact situation of a child playing around and you just trying to express yourself, taking too much stress on yourself, and then just rather think of what the child is thinking right now. And yeah,
Yeah.
you'll be like, this
Yeah.
is my playground. I just need to chill. And yeah, I gotta do things. I got your back. It's like that.
Yeah, man. It's like we get lost in our own thought. We take ourselves too serious, and we just kind of like, there's a child. We were all children one time, and we
Yeah.
were experts at play, but then somehow we forgot because like we had responsibilities, you know, and you had consequences for not being responsible. But the being responsible and then also being able to play is the balance of life, you know, that I think to live a happy life, those are two things you have to learn how to do.
True. Like, I think like if somebody thinks of popping as a you know career, I think that is really important. Responsibilities and how to play. Like you just need to
Mm.
play with your craft and also make sure you are taking some responsibilities and yeah, quite
Yeah.
right.
Yeah, this is about to end. I'll stop.